welcome to Bringing the World to Your Table. I'm Abby Gray.
And I'm Megan Buteau, and today we're going to stay local.
Yay, we're going to stay in Norwell because there is lots going on during the holiday season. I'm going to build some cool boards.
And I'm going to talk about the history of Norwell and how it plays into the building of these boards, not only from the wood, but also the agriculture history. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is great. And you might notice we're drinking from our cool mugs.
Yes.
We're bringing the mugs to our table because we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so we can drink from our mugs and dream of days to come, right?
Absolutely.
Here's to that.
All right, so
you want to go ahead and start prepping, and we'll start by taking a look at these beautiful boards.
Okay, I've done some prep, but I'm going to step off camera and do a little bit more so I can show you how to build the perfect board for your holiday, family gathering.
Yes, exactly.
All right, I'll be back.
Oh, and who do we have coming here for a visit today? We have RHG. We have Richard from RHG Woodworking.
Hello, I've come all the way from 156 Norwell Avenue.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome to the show, Richard. We're so excited to have a guest.
Yeah.
And what we thought we'd talk about is, while Abby's off working on sort of building this beautiful munchy charcuterie grazing board, Richard's here to talk a little bit about the wood. And now Richard makes these beautiful boards. You can see a couple examples here. Here's one with Travel with Abby and Megan. And here's a beautiful one that we are going to be using today. But Richard,
this is another one that I've been making for some friends for gifts. So this is one made out of cherry and ash. But I've also been using other woods that are more local to Norwell. Like some hickory, for example.
Yeah, so Norwell has this really interesting history along the North River. It was a shipbuilding capital, and it also has a very agricultural history. But when they were shipbuilding, I would say it was probably from about the mid-1600s or mid to late 1600s to the mid-1800s. And they primarily used, we talked about white oak.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look around Norwell, you can definitely see, I think a lot of it now is, would you say second growth forest? Because they in fact harvested a lot of it. And now the conservation department and community is really working on sort of bringing back Norwell to what it was before they really harvested and kind of clear cut a lot of it. But in harvesting it, it also ties back to the agriculture because that's what opened up these fields and provided for a lot of the growing spaces. Now, when they did the shipbuilding, I was doing some Norwell history research, as was Richard, formerly South Scituate, but then became Norwell in the late 1800s. But when they were shipbuilding, they used a lot of the white oak, like we talked about. Mm-hmm. And then we also I read that they used some different woods for the bottom parts of the boats, which I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
And I think they said some black oak, and then some cedar.
Yeah.
Right. So Richard was telling me that he actually has some wood from our neighboring community, Pembroke.
Yes, I bought some hickory, actually. It's a bit of a large piece to bring in, but I bought a live edge slab of hickory, which is one of the hardest woods that you can get. Old hickory is a name you'll remember from
Go ahead and bring it in, Richard. It's so pretty.
Okay.
All right.
Megan can help you.
Okay, hold on.
I'll step on camera and show you that I'm preparing my gorgeous carrots with cranberries for the board. I'll talk to you about that later. But all these things are baking in the oven so that I can show you how to make the perfect board for your holiday party.
So this is a piece of hickory that I'm going to use later on, next year, 2021 project. And I got it from a place called Woodworks in Pembroke. So it's a local lumber yard. And Henry there is a great guy, and I bought quite a bit of wood from him. So this is called a live edge slab because it's got the bark you can see on the edges. And you can also see the sapwood, which is what is the latest growth, is much lighter than the heartwood, which is the darker central part.
Well, thank you, Richard. And so many exciting things to come, and I have to say that not only do they provide a beautiful canvas for these charcuterie boards, but I just love seeing the grain in them and just knowing the hard work that goes into it. So
it's also interesting, if I could step back on, how that piece of hickory, did he just say we bought over a year ago?
Yeah.
And it's been hiding under our bed because it has to cure. And there are so many different options you can make with that, like live edge stuff, even a coffee table.
Right, that's what I was talking about. He made it really popular. So
what else do you have to show there,
something else
sir?
to show?
Well, I was just going to show a little bit
Oh, the
I was just going to show a little bit about how you get from a piece of wood to a board. So this is a piece of ash, actually. This is what I would buy from a lumberyard. So this is called rough sawn. You can see it's pretty rough, and you can also see if you look at the end of it, it's quite curved. So trying to make that into a board takes us a few steps. So the first step is to make it a board that's flat and square, and this is how I've taken this piece of ash. This is actually the same board. I just took one half and milled it flat and square, and then I cut it into strips and glue it together with other pieces. So this ash is from this same batch of wood, and then glue it together with some walnuts, some cherry in this case, and then you can also round the edges and cut the handles, and then lots of sanding, and then finally I finish off with beeswax and oil to protect the board and keep it looking good and keep the food safe.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Well, we're really excited to get started on showing you what delicious things we're going to put on these beautiful boards. Thank you for stopping by, Richard.
Okay, thanks.
Hello. I see things in the magazines or on one of the shows I love. I don't know. I don't watch too many shows, but when I see a board, I love to copy it. And so I send him a picture, and sometimes I get it.
Copying is the greatest form of flattery, right?
It is. Well, especially when, like when you have someone who can make them, they're actually quite expensive to buy.
Oh yeah, because between the wood and then the time that goes into them.
Yeah, the time and the curing.
They're kind of, I think you have to think of them as sort of pieces of art almost.
Yeah, and the thing is, people don't realize. Actually, I was glad he showed you how it goes in the process, because you don't realize how often. How many steps it takes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get that one off because that one's for sale. So let me grab this one.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to switch places with you, Megan. I'm just going to grab my coffee.
All right. So while we're getting set up here, okay. So we have many delicious things, it looks like, here today. And Abby was saying that on the agenda is not only a board that you would build probably for you think of more savory items for mealtime, like a charcuterie and cheese, or I think I said earlier, my new favorite term is a grazing board, because who doesn't love snacks for a meal, right?
Right. Well, I mean, especially also
delicious ones.
But so the Europeans, and you may have picked up Richard's English, but the English and the Europeans, they typically do they've done boards for years. And so early on,
you might hear them called like a plowman's lunch.
Yeah. Oh, a plowman's board. Yeah. That's specific. That's
right.
Very, I know. The Brit, but no, it's like that.
Yeah.
But I've done them, especially during COVID. We've made these boards to have dinner. So instead of having, a main course and lots of sides, I just build this big board, and we put meat and cheese and vegetables. Yeah. Now, I always serve it. I just have little plates that I use at the holiday time. I happen to celebrate Christmas, but this could be done for Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or any holiday that you celebrate.
How fun would it be to pick a different theme for each 8 nights of Hanukkah?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a friend actually who does that in New York, and they everybody brings a dish for their board, and they light the candles and open gifts. But so what I think about when I build these boards is always the food and the quality of the food. Okay, so, and you want things to look kind of holiday-ish. So here I have just roasted some Brussels sprouts. I always use cranberries because they're perfect at the holiday time.
I'm just
some pine nuts.
And I'm going to show you kind of an up close because it really is super beautiful. So Abby was saying that the Brussels sprouts, some pine nuts
and cranberries. And all you have to do is I just put them in with a little olive oil and sea salt and usually Italian herbs, just for a little.
And now it looks like they've been sliced rather thinly.
Yeah, I actually just, you could do it. You could cut them in half.
Okay.
I just use it shredded. Actually, I just bought shredded Brussels sprouts from Trader Joe's.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, but
charcuterie tray hack right here.
Exactly. So the other thing I do is So you just want to build things around it, right? So here around the handle, you could put, I just did some Parma ham.
Yum.
And I also,
and now the other thing we talked about is, so we're here in Norwell, and we talked a little bit about the shipbuilding history and the forests, and then we also talked about how Norwell was a really agriculture town. That was sort of the other main industry,
farming town, yeah.
And so we thought it would be fun just to show you and highlight some of our favorite local producers here that are in Norwell today. So, you know, a fun thing you could add to it is kind of make a local board, right? Or add in some local things. So
there's lots of options for partnering. I tend to like so things like Kiss Flower Farm, Lisa over at Kiss Flower Farm, she makes great jams, granola, soups. She has a barn and a bed and breakfast, I believe, as well. And she sells out of her barn, but she also goes to local fairs, even though we're not doing local fairs right now. So sometimes I see her at the farmer's market.
Yeah, she is at the farmer's market, and there is, you can do, the farmer's markets are delivering now. So she partners with a farmer's market for delivery too, if you'd rather go that route.
Yeah.
And I've had like her hot pepper jelly jam, which is sometimes a nice addition to charcuterie board with your cheese.
Well, yeah, you can bake that with brie as well, and just take a roll of crescent rolls. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Crescent rolls are your best friend during the holidays. Just buy a couple rolls and keep them in your fridge, and you just put it on a cookie sheet, take the hot pepper jam, the brie on top, fold it, sprinkle some sea salt, bake it, and it looks like you've been cooking for decades.
Now, while we've been chatting, Abby's been chatty. Abby's been hard at work, adding some more delicious things.
So what I'm doing is I'm just to make a pretty board, you just have to keep adding things of color and things that make sense. So I add salty and sweet, okay? So the Parma ham is salty. This is a little bit sweeter with the cranberries. I did some salami and some roasted peppers.
Delicious, and they look like roasted in olive oil. And
the peppers, I just literally throw them on a pan, sea salt and pepper. I don't use olive oil because you don't need to. I use the canola spray in that instance, or olive oil spray. Yeah. Because you want to really coat them. Okay. And you don't want them to kind of drown in oil. Yeah. The other thing is, here I have a mixture of nuts and berries, so salt and sweet. Yeah,
blueberries, blackberries, some cashews.
Yes.
But really you can do your favorite berries. And I noticed that it's in really this beautiful, beautiful dish. So the other thing about the charcuterie board is it also contains other little vessels and little dishes, right? So everything's not just plopped on the board.
Yeah, well, that's up to you. I mean, I'm very particular. Yeah. So everybody builds boards and people get competitive over it, and but this is how I do it. I tend to use things because you want height, you want presentation. One of the things I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move the ham, because I do want to use the handle if we wanted to carry it. Nice. So I'm going to bring it back here by the grapes. Okay. These actually were made by Leslie, which is LSM Designs in Norwell. And you can find her on Facebook
and they're beautiful. They're oyster shells, so native to this area. And then she paints and seals them so they can be used to hold food, and they're really just a lovely
they're food safe decoupage.
Yes, thank you for the word. And so those are really fun little ways to kind of pep up your board, and also give a shout out to our local seafaring culture here.
Oh yeah,
as formerly South Scituate.
And you could use it as on the charcuterie board, or you could use it for jewelry, kind of whatever floats your boat. Right. So some other things, I go see Mary at Botez. I'm not going to open these garlic mushrooms right now because I actually do want to use them, but I did get them from Mary. What I will do is I'm going to show you, I did a steak and I started talking, but another thing I always do on some people just put the Parma ham or salami. I always do a piece of beef, like a tenderloin or half a ribeye steak, because often, especially I hate to say it, but guys, sometimes they get a little hungry if it's just picky. So I always put a little more substantial protein on there.
Especially if you're using this for like a dinner. Like a dinner, yeah.
Yeah. So over on this side, I'm going to put my steak, and then I'm going to drizzle some of the truffle mushroom sauce from Botez. Mary has a
Beautiful assortment of
really nice assortment of food. She's got some really gorgeous chutneys. She makes her own jam. This is a balsamic sweet onion jam, which 2 or 3 things I would do with this. We were going to go to Vienna in December with our company, and we weren't able to go, but I was doing some reading, and they add a lot of jam to their cookies during Christmas. So I'm going to make some Viennese cookies, and I'm going to use this for more savory cookie. And this is the other thing I would do. I would put it over brie. It's so delicious with brie. I got this really beautiful piece of goat cheese, which I love because it's kind of guilt-free. Goat cheese, you can eat a lot of it, and it's not particularly fattening.
And this one is from Vermont. There's really some lovely cheeses that are made here in the Northeast, Massachusetts included. This one happens to be from Vermont. Yeah, it comes in a cute little box.
It does come in a cute little box. In fact,
it doesn't want to leave the box.
No, it doesn't want to leave the box, but that's all right because I'm just going to pick it up.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it behind my roasted carrots. So the other thing we could do is Cross Street Flower Farm makes floral honey. They're a local farm here.
Farm here in Norwell. And in the off season, they've been doing some honey from their beautiful flowers that provide the nectar to the bees.
Yes. So the thing about that, I'm just stepping off camera again. Sorry. But we have to do that sometimes.
Oh my gosh, you open this, I can smell the truffles in it.
Oh yeah. This is really a good thing. So let me tell you a couple more things you can do with truffle. You can put it on pasta. I just take the back of my spoon and rub it over the.
Would you say this is like a truffle pesto?
It's called a truffle sauce.
Truffle sauce.
You could, once you put heat with it, like if you dump this in with linguine, that is so delicious. And then you just have to put a little Parmesan on top. That's all you have to do. The other thing that I love at Botez is the Dijon honey mustard, because Dijon honey mustard is the key ingredient to almost any amazing dressing during the holidays, but I always think any amazing dressing.
Yeah. I love balsamic on, a variety of things.
A variety of things. So one thing I would do is I would drizzle, I'm not going to open this and do it because Megan and I can't possibly eat all of this. So, but I would drizzle it over my goat cheese, and is how I would take care of that.
That'd be delicious.
The other thing I would do is we got some of this tomato puree from Norwell Farms.
Yeah.
Okay, so Norwell Farms
is a group here in town that has worked hard on establishing themselves and bringing information about agriculture to Norwell, contemporary. So I know that they have a lot of exciting programs that they want to do and bring to the Norwell community. And
they've been in town a while.
Yeah,
but they're different things have happened because we didn't have a farmer the last couple of years.
Right. And so this is a preserve, and I know one on their agenda is kind of educating the community about preserving. So of course it is an off season, but I think the thing is that even in, say, off growing season, there's still so many things that can be used that are from your community. So for an example, preserved tomatoes. They're really lovely.
I would take the tomatoes, and what I would do is I would put bake goat cheese. So I take a little container like this or this, and I put in like half a log, or you can get a small log, or I buy the big ones at Christmas, half a log in your bake dish. Sprinkle it with herbs, or don't, depends on what you like, and put it in the oven for like 15 minutes. Then when it comes out, I put this on here because I would pour it over the goat cheese and then serve it with crackers, and that is really delicious.
Sounds delicious.
So these little dishes I love. So the other thing is, use things that are seasonal and cute. So Richard made me these Cooking with Abby spice jars, and I'm gonna, some of you might get them as little gifts, or clients might get them with their Christmas order, but we are going, I loved how this looked. It was just simple and easy, and I thought, oh, again, I don't have to recreate the wheel. I can just make these. So I have these, and I think they're super cute. And they can hold, what I was going to do for the dessert is you can put some raffia in there, or straw, and then nestle the almonds on top.
Delicious. I was going to say too, another idea for the different vessels is when we're traveling again is I love going to different countries and bringing home some of their containers. So like we talked about being at the Christmas markets in Vienna, sometimes there's often very lovely little pottery or holder. Again, same thing in Italy when we visit the pottery factory.
Oh, I always bring home.
Yeah. There's some beautiful containers there.
A lot of times in Paris. Right. So Paris and Rome specifically do tons of food gifts. Yes. So would Vienna.
Yeah, so does Vienna.
Yeah. So between the food and the
and along those lines, sometimes one of our favorite places to go is, and to get a feel for the area that we're traveling to, is actually just to go to a simple market, and see what items they have there that people buy for sort of everyday consumption. And it's really interesting to see. It's fun to see, and it's just fun to kind of think up some different ways you can highlight them. So
I've definitely missed the food halls in Paris and the markets.
Yeah.
Especially and Rome.
And Vienna has a beautiful the Narsch market, which is another beautiful outdoor food market. So
and all the gifts, like when we talk and partner with our friends in Italy, like Lorraine and Letizia and Daniela, they always do special gifts. That's what I've been focusing on this year, gifts of food. So it's not like big box and Amazon. People make really substantial things to give.
And it's so nice, right, to be able to source them from your own community and support local. So
it is.
It's great.
So this is just a tomato bruschetta.
I love that.
I don't mean to keep harping on Botes, or not harping is not the right word, but because we have many local great partners. Yeah. But this is one of her, Mary's big things. She does the bruschetta. So I make that too, but if you, with Cooking with Abby, but if you just need it, just run in and get it. It's so delicious. And she makes this feta spread. So it looks like this. And then you put it on some crostini. We're going to put some crackers on the board in a minute. And then I have my little guy who's a little snowman. So that looks festive and fun.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't put my, I do not put my serving utensils on until a little bit later. Because what I do also, something that's nice is I love the board to look super pretty. And I put a board of utensils next to it. Now, during COVID, something just if you are having family over and you're staying super safe and following CDC, I would do individual things.
Yes.
So you can like take a mason jar and put your utensils in the mason jar with a napkin and let people go to the board, but just go through once, and they can use their own utensils, and then when the next person goes through, they use their own utensils, so you're not touching everything all over.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting there, but what I also do, let me just grab, let me step away for 1 second and I will be right back, Megan. Well, you talk about...
I'll talk a little bit about some more shipbuilding history here in Norwell. So this I thought was one of my favorite components. We talked about the shipbuilding on the North River, was that the most famous, or one of the most famous ships that was built here was the Brig Beaver, which was used in the Boston Tea Party. So we brought some North River history to the Tea Party. So there were over 1,000 ships that were built here during the shipbuilding industry here. But I think that was one of the most famous.
Well, I think it's also all connected, which is interesting too. A lot of times after, well, many people after World War II came back, and that's why they also changed the regulations and allowed less than an acre. And so there's a lot of housing that's built in Norwell from the way around Norwell after World War II.
So it evolved from, so parts of it you might say, oh, it is agriculture, and then parts not so much. But yeah.
I think there's so much conservation land in Norwell.
Oh, there's a ton of conservation land, right? And yeah, it's easy to look out and see where, like I said, it's a lot of the second growth forest. So you can see where they used a lot of the wood, and then also talk about kind of, staying local and keeping things from your community. They then harvested the iron for the shipbuilding in Pembroke and Hanover. So
I'm not a huge fan of the snakes in the woods, but
right. Not the highlight.
Not the highlight.
Like no snake tour of Norwell, but
All right, so I'm sure we're going to get the wrap-up signal pretty soon, but what I want to show you is I always keep dried cranberries as well. I'm going to put that over the cheese. That looks pretty on the board. I would fill in all these spots. So what I also do, I know we don't have a nut allergy here. If you know of a nut allergy, don't do it. But you just kind of take nuts and you sprinkle them over things. And then I also often take
that's
dried onions.
That's fancy.
Oh yeah.
I know. Wow, that really brought everything up a notch.
Yeah, it makes everything look fancy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, Megan.
Oh yes.
Because I know you like dessert.
Thank you, Abby.
Well, I like chocolate, but I feel like you like dessert maybe more than I do. I like more the savory.
I just have a nibble of chocolate, but Megan over here eats the whole cake.
Yeah, I know. She makes these great apple cakes and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I made a huge apple cake," and I'm always the beneficiary of it, which is great. All right, so we love our Megan Travel with Abby and Megan board, but now I'm going to make it a small dessert board.
Oh, good.
So I baked off a limited amount of cookies because I want that to be
just enough for me.
Yeah, just enough for Megan. I wanted that to be the outside ring. And then yesterday I made fudge for a friend's birthday and for clients who are buying boards.
And who doesn't love fudge?
Well, and this is the thing about fudge, though. I think it's so sweet.
Yeah, it is very sweet.
I make one that's a little less sweet, but also, how much fudge can you eat, right?
Because if it's something you nibble on, I think.
If the fudge is out, it's torture. Yeah. So I make small rings of fudge, okay? So I'm going to put that kind of there. Well, actually there, because people will want to cut it. I have a dish of nuts and candied peanuts and chocolate, salty and savory. I'm going to put in the center because it's such a pretty color. I have my cocoa-covered almonds, which are
lovely,
delicious. I'm going to put that at the end of the board like that. I made some bark, which is super easy to do. I'll just tell you really quick. Just take 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, or you can use dark chocolate chips. 1 big tablespoon of canola oil or vegetable oil. Melt it in the microwave. Start at 30 seconds and do 30-second increments. And then you make sure it's really smooth. And then
you can stir it really easily.
Take one of your cookie sheets and a piece of parchment and just thin it out over the course of a cookie sheet. That's why you only want to do 2 cups.
Spread the mix out over the course of the
you want to fit it out. You want to, you take an offset spatula and spread it out, and then you can sprinkle whatever you want. I just happen to use little holiday sprinkles.
Well, everything's better with sprinkles, right?
Yeah. So I just use holiday sprinkles, and you could use peppermint. I use peppermint, so you could do the peppermint bark. That's how easy it is. You could mix in a little peanut butter if you wanted to into your mix. I'm not going to take these out because they're deadly little cookies. They're little lemon cookies that I would put right there. And then I would maybe put some milk chocolate almonds as well. But There's your little dessert board, which I think is super cute.
So this has been really fun, and we're getting super excited for the winter months ahead of us, as long as we have our charcuterie or grazing board by our side.
Yeah, and you can make, think about everything that you want to do. You can put, other dips on there. I often do spinach and artichoke dip. I often do other fruits. I often slice cucumbers and put them on because people love that. Extra peppers.
Yeah.
Just stock it with lots of healthy stuff, and then the dessert board won't be so bad.
Yeah. So whether we're here around town in Norwell or we're overseas, there's always room for you at our table.
Thank you and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.